In a high-stakes NATO press conference, President Joe Biden faced tough questions on his mental fitness and foreign policy, just as calls for him to step aside in the presidential race grow louder. In a high-stakes NATO press conference, President Joe Biden faced tough questions on his mental fitness and foreign policy, just as calls for him to step aside in the presidential race grow louder. Despite the pressure, Biden stood firm, defending his record on complex international issues. Despite the pressure, Biden stood firm, defending his record on complex international issues. He discussed competition with China, the Israel-Hamas conflict, and Russia's war in Ukraine. Joe Biden: I've been in contact with Xi Jinping to warn him against supporting Russia's war in Ukraine. As for Putin, I have no reason to speak to him right now. But the conference wasn't without its gaffes. Biden mistakenly referred to Vice President Kamala Harris as Vice President Trump. Earlier, he confused Ukrainian President Zelenskiy with Russian President Putin. Joe Biden: I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president if she's not qualified to be president. Despite this, Biden remains defiant, insisting he will stay in the race unless polls show he has no chance against Trump. He emphasized his experience and capabilities as reasons to continue his campaign. Joe Biden: I've not had any of my European allies come up and say, Joe, don't run. What I've heard them say is, you've got to win. Biden showcased his command over foreign policy, addressing concerns about an Israeli occupation of Gaza and cautioning European countries on their investments in China. Biden: There's no need to occupy anywhere. Go after the people who did the job. However, not everyone is convinced. Two more congressional Democrats have joined the call for Biden to step aside, citing concerns about his ability to secure a victory in the upcoming election. Congressional Democrat: It's time for a new direction. We need a candidate who can unite and energize the party. As the press conference drew to a close, Biden addressed the speculation about his candidacy. Biden: If polls showed that Harris's chances were better, I'd consider stepping down. But right now, I'm focused on winning and leading this country. Joe Biden's performance at the NATO press conference leaves supporters hopeful, but skeptics unconvinced. As the election approaches, the debate over his candidacy intensifies.